Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I wanted to do this video just in case I couldn't make it to the group. I am currently in Phoenix at a conference for work. So happy to see everybody. Jim and Cynthia, good to see you back. So today's message is going to be one that's going to be a little bit different, as always. As I sat here in my hotel room contemplating, what are we going to talk about? What can I possibly connect with? And I just started looking around the room and said, what can I use? I've been using a lot of these dried pineapple. And then I started reading the ingredients. And I was like, wow, it's just a simple pineapple and it's got sugar, sulfur dioxide, and citric acid. But then I have an apple from this morning's buffet that doesn't have any active ingredients, doesn't have anything to control it, to preserve it. This is just God-given, God-grown, given to you and I. So this reminds me a lot of our faith. You know, the Catholicism, is a lot like this. It'll always be like this. No matter if it's 1954, 1986, 2034, 2054, it'll always be like that till Jesus comes back and changes it for us. But many people are looking for this. They want the sweeter version. They want the more condensed version. This past weekend, as part of the deacon class, we went up to Casa Grande, and they took half of us into a long-term rehabilitation service home, and then in the afternoon we went to a hospital, and we visited patients in the ICU, patients that were recovering, and they wanted us to get the act of the empathy, see how we would react going in and proclaiming and asking the people what they needed. And it wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. It was very challenging to go into a room where the person that is laying there has not been visited by a family member, has been ignored by the medical staff in their mind. And they know that they're at their last days or last months. Because some people suffer from mental illness where to you and I it's a day, but to them it seems like a week, a month. So it was really eye-opening for my brothers and I to learn this, but that's going to be part of the ministry. But they had shared something that you don't even need to have a special title to do this. You can just volunteer, go into a group home, a hospice, the VA home, something like that, and just proclaim. People want to be heard. People want to be remembered. People want to have us look into their eyes. They want to know that God made us to turn around and be able to serve them. And serving them is just giving them an ear, praying for them. Not necessarily spreading the good news, because some people don't want that. But there are some people that they really do. I used to make fun of my wife. There's something about her every morning that she has to make the bed. She has to make the bed. Doesn't matter what time we get out of bed. She will make that bed pristine. You would think you're at a resort. She might have days where her and I don't do anything all day, but that bed is made. And it wasn't until I saw a famous speech where an admiral was talking to some future officers. And they said, 3 of the most successful things you can do to start your day is make your bed. Make your bed. And that's going to give you a sense of accomplishment so you can jump into the day and start accomplishing everything else. But we put the Christ spin on it. We wake up and we hold our cup of coffee, we hold our hands up to the sky, say, God, what are we going to do today? Like my brother Jerry always says. So today's message is, remember, the fruit is for you and I. And no matter what, it'll always be there. So I want us to take time. I want us to remember those that are forgotten. I want to remember those that are in shut-ins. I want to remember those that we think are fine in a hospital setting, in a long-term rehabilitation setting. They're not really as fine as you and I think. You know, going in and giving them a smile, going in and actually acknowledging them. But let's take it to the next level. Let's take it for next week when we go to Mass. Go up to somebody and say, you know what? I've been watching you and your family come to Mass for weeks, for months, in some cases years. Introduce yourself. Say, you know what? So-and-so. This is my significant other. I'll see you next Sunday. Just that sense of acknowledgement is probably one of the biggest things that we can do as Christians. And I'll leave you with the story, a true story, of course. So the main deacon that's up here, Deacon Steve. Casa Grande is very small, and a deacon and a priest have a lot of work to do here. He's on call 24/7, and he got called to the hospital because there was a child that was going to be transported out to Phoenix for a medical condition that they couldn't treat here, and they didn't think they were going to make her. They didn't think she was going to make it on the flight. She was 3 years old, but she had never been baptized. So Deacon Steve ran out there. He always has his holy water with him. Speaking of that, so what I was trying to say is, I had to cut the video. I carry my holy water with me. Thanks to my brother Arturo for getting me this. I carry my little rosary. I'll carry a lighter, because you never know when I have to light a candle for somebody. Well, Deacon Steve was rushing to the hospital because his child was about to take off, and they didn't think she was going to make it. So Deacon Steve did what he was supposed to do, and he actually baptized the child. And years went by, and Deacon Steve is very, very active here at St. Anthony's Church, which is a beautiful church. And years later, he was teaching adult confirmation, and he asked some of the parents or some of the adults in the crowd, what is your blessing? What has happened in your life that you're thankful for? So everyone shared what they have going on. And one woman raised her hand and said, you know, Deacon Steve, you are my blessing. You are my blessing. You're my true story. And Deacon Steve didn't know what she was talking about. You baptized my child when we didn't think she was going to make it. And Deacon Steve, he took a breath and asked the question, how's she doing? He didn't know whether she had passed. Deacon Steve, she's 13 years old, and she's doing amazing. So by giving somebody the time, the ear, just going in and reading to them, you never know the impact it's going to have. God shared with me something special. You know, it's like, I like it when beautiful things happen naturally. And I really think God rewarded me with not only what I was doing, but at the very end, I was walking past one of the hospital rooms, and 3 of my classmates were in there, and they were just having a grand old time with this patient. Well, you know, Moreno likes being part of the fun, so I went in there, and I just saw this beautiful Mexican lady laying there talking, and I walked in, and immediately I said, are these men flirting with you, or are they giving you a hard time? And she smiled. Well, when she smiled, she looked into my eyes, and I swear to you, it was my grandmother. The look, everything about her. So that was my reward today, and it impacted me. So it impacted me for all day. I'm still in tears. So, whew, let's make sure we go out. Let's make sure we definitely make a difference in someone's life. And I highly recommend Art of Empathy. This story right here this book right here will open up your eyes, will make it visible on how much of a kind heart you have. So, I thank you all for looking at my video. I don't know if I'm going to be here personally, but I wanted to make sure I didn't miss this opportunity. And if I am in here and I'm in one of the squares, I'm with you all the time. So my brothers and sisters in Christ, I love you and I pray for you, and I pray that you pray for me and my family. And I really, really thank you for being here for that hour and a half. My Mondays are very long because I cannot wait till 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Why? Because you and I share the same thing, you know. It's never going to change. It's sweet. And the beautiful thing about this apple, I mean, doesn't matter how many ways or how many different ways you slice it. Thanks to God.
Quick message of the night. I just brought a woman who just passed away, and it was the first time that their family followed me down to the morgue. And right now, before they had to depart from their mother, one by one, they held her, and all of them said, "I wish we had more time." This is what I speak about every day. There's nothing more valuable and more important than life itself. To strengthen you. Let's get it.